you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hearer of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to an I-Had moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister Taha. Running you today, we have the messenger prophet, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem. Off to the side of us is Holy Queen Mother Rabbit Lane and my partner, Brother Fakil Aziz. And those in the audience and those joining, may I ease his peace and other blessings about everyone's presence. Seek this. Ahezaah give us so much in our lives to think about, to ponder, to reflect upon, that one thing that could be reflected upon just this week passing, how being in the battle, in the war, I just termed the word life struggle, what the Muslim may call jihad or the holy war. It's so much of a battle within one's own self that the battle truly takes place in the mind and the thinking and the process, and how we go about our lives daily, forgetful of Ahezaah, thinking, trying to beat ourselves in the world. But if we take time to come out of the rat race or what's going on in the world today and sit back for a moment to reflect on our Lord and all of his givings, all the trials of life that it puts upon us, and to remember above everything else, then it is a battle worth striving for, because the hell that's out here in the world today is so paramount. And the sign of destruction of Allah is manifesting more and more clearly with his clarity out of his mercy to show the people that this is the hour of the day that it speaks about in Revelations, that's promised in the book that was given to the prophet Malachi, that the dreadful day of the Lord is here and is upon us. So with that, we're going to discuss that amongst other things. Those who are in the audience, feel free to have questions, chime in as we talk about this. But Brother Holy-Apostle Queen.
Well, you mentioned Malachi, I also mentioned Jesus too.
Yes, sir. Okay, right.
The disciples, received the so-called book of, what is it?
Release.
No,
The gospel.
The gospel, yeah.
But, you said something very important that really seems insignificant.
Okay.
And what is most significant, and people pass over it in religion all the time, so easily, more easily, I believe, than any other thing. And that is, you said remembrance, the Lord remembrance of Ahezaah. In our struggle of life, that's what we do most, is forget Ahezaah. Yeah. And in the Holy Quran, the last book that it sent down before this recent book, of Divine Covenant, it says very often to remember us. It mentioned remembrance of it in the Holy Quran more than it mentioned prayer and praising. It said remember it much, and it indicated how it would bless people who remember it much, remembering it much, and we go through our lives that, so instantaneously forgetting it.
Yes.
And sometimes if we don't see someone else who remembers it, or if we don't hear the public call of prayer, which it blessed us with, and not just as Muslims, but the people, of the Islamic, so-called Islamic path, but people of the path of the way of truth before Muhammad, always had us to be called to prayer publicly.
Right.
And that wasn't so much for the gathering publicly, which people believed it to be, but it was for the remembering of it so that you can bow down in prayer wherever you may be, and that's so important and so significant in the religious covenant, the religious agreement that the Lord sent down to mankind as a sign of its mercy, as a show of its mercy for us, an offering that, if we, for us to remember it and be blessed by it, and its appreciation of us.
Yeah, I did this. That is a word.
Yeah, that was very enlightening happening. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Blew, blew off, and it was still lit. The fire was
Still in it. Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah. I know you want to say, oh, hold it quick.
I was reflecting this week. You know, we had a
You leave it there.
we had a heavy not but let me not say it was heavy. I used to bless me. I'm not gonna say us. To receive something last week when we talked about how what we say not parting. We said what excusing, yeah. Right. And how when we do that excusing, we disregard Quran by excusing and excusing ourselves. We don't use the Quran as the guide.
Right, and we was talking about excusing people's faults and making excuses for people's faults, and this and turning away as though something is not happening, turning away in ignorance of people's faults because you love them. It's and in your mind and heart, basically saying, well, it's all right because I love this person. I can accept them doing this wrong, or I'm going to excuse them from doing this wrong, or I'm going to hide them from doing this wrong. I'm going to allow them to do this wrong in public or private without having any say in it because I love them. Right. I believe that's where he was talking.
Right. Yeah. Well, and in doing that, you disregard what Ahezaah has sent down. But for you to use as guidance, even with that situation.
Right.
And in that, I was just pondering over a lot of things. I wasn't able to let that go, but I was pondering over some things. And I guess because I do be out in the world a lot. But I thought about the Ten Commandments and how Islam have the 5 principles. And something caused me to magnify the 5 principles. And I said, I don't know, did Allah said these are the 5 principles, or did man take those 5 things out of the Quran? Believe, prayer, fast, charity, and Hajj.
Right.
Did man take that out and said these are the 5 principles, and then they have the 7 pillars, where it is believe in Allah's angel, believe in Allah's messenger, believe in the unseen, believe. I can't remember. I'm really more viewers today.
Or you can say that man has taken that, just like man has taken 100 attributes of Allah.
Right.
It's like out of the Quran from attributes that are mentioned, because Ahezaah did not say in Holy Quran that these are the 5 principles of Islam or principles of faith, and these are the 7 pillars of faith, because we know that Ahezaah always manifests with balance. So if you got pillars, they're going to be in a balanced number, like 4, 8, or 12, or 16, or whatever, and not 7.
Right. And by me thinking about it, I really didn't see it in Quran about these 5 principles, but I did reflect on that. And in my reflecting on that, I looked at when I came into Islam, chose Islam as going to be my way of life. And I looked at how people put emphasis on those 5 pillars. And it's like a, how can I say it? It's like a red light, green light, yellow light. It's like structure.
Right.
And they don't go outside the structure, and I thought about it when, and they say believe, and then you have to look into Quran and see how Allah said, be of those who believe as you believe.
Right.
And don't say that you're a believer, say that you're a striver to become a believer.
That's the problem with this man is.
Right.
Verbs.
And so when you say belief, if you accept what they consider Islam, and you think that you are a believer, then you lose sight that you have not that, because these are the 5 principles. Now, stay with me. These are the 5 principles. You're not going to focus so much on what Allah said that you have not yet come to believe. You're going to think that you're a believer. And then when it comes to prayer, Somebody, you know, they have a structure. You make prayer 5 times a day. So then people's not going to go outside of that 5 times a day. So all the structure of the pillar, of the principles are followed in that manner.
Right.
And people lose their way from that structure.
Right.
You know, it's good to have as a practice, but you got to revisit those 5 pillars and look deeper into what Allah is saying in regards to being a believer, you know, and getting to belief and things of that nature. So that struck me. It made me start thinking a little deeper about, you know, how man put things out there and still keep us captured and not let us go and drink of the whole glass of water, so to speak.
Okay, let me just say this here. For everything that I either give, there's a cause, and then there's an effect. Right. You understand? And in looking, one of the problems that people have is they don't see Allah as real. They don't see the Lord as active, really active in their life, or active participant in their life. They see the Lord as sitting on the throne, being away from them, like Jesus is in, you know, in heaven, and they keep calling on Jesus. Right. When Allah has sent prophets after Jesus and messengers after Jesus, so they ignore Jesus. Now the Muslims is looking at Muhammad, and Allah has sent messengers since Muhammad and prophets since Muhammad, and they ignore them and say, you know, they look at what Allah sent before as a cause, and in their effect, they ignore the prophets and messengers that Allah talked about in the Holy Quran and other books that was to come. Right. You understand? And then they finalized themselves for themselves to say that these prophets were always good enough. That's the end of it. We don't need no more. But that structure causes them problems. Yeah. And one of the major problems of the path of the way or the religion is that people get fixed in structure. Who fixes them in structure? The advocates of the devil fix them in structures, and they do it purposely. They find their way to the pulpits, to the rostrums, to the head of the class, to teach to people. And the so-called humble cowards, because most of the people who turn to Allah first is cowards. Mm-hmm. The people who looking for help against the ruffians. They said, where's the Lord to help me? Lord, help me against them, because I'm too afraid to go out there and fight them people off for me. Fight them off for me. You understand? Unfortunately, a lot of humble people are cowards. And a lot of cowards hide themselves behind the act of being humble when really they're cowards. You know? It's like you got people who say, well, you know, I've been on my deen, and I've been, you know, and I stay in my home, and you know, and I remember my Lord, but they be in their home hiding. They don't, how many times do they say they be in their home meditating on Allah, contemplating on Allah, you know, praying to Allah, remembering Allah, studying Allah, looking at Allah and all things in life? How many times do they tell you that? Oh, well, I just been on my deen. Doing what? Just staying in my house away from trouble. Trouble is in the house. The house is you.
That's it.
No matter where you go, you in the house. That's your house, your temple.
That's it, yeah.
You know, and there's trouble in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you can't get away from. So if you stay, if you find yourself falling into the structure that men set up for you, then you are only going to pray 5 times a day as a Muslim, 3 times a day as a Christian. Yeah. You understand? You're only going to meditate as a Hindu or Buddhist. You know, you're going to stay locked in that box or whatever, where you're not going to come out, and you're going to think everything outside of that box is evil. That's why it's so easy to tell the Christians and the Muslims or whomever, don't read any other things, don't read any other books, when the law clearly tells you, Ahezaah clearly tells you in the name of Allah and Amen and whatever, that this book is the criterion, the balance, the judge of that which came before it. That's everything that is sent before it. So therefore, don't turn away from what it sent before. Use this book to find out what it's talking, what it is sit down and what it's talking about.
Yeah.
It is for that which is come, which was to come after it, clearly said in there. So don't let nobody confuse you and make you believe that Prophet Muhammad was the final, or Jesus was the final, or Moses was the final. You understand? But use that to find the truth as it continually is being evolved by the Lord Most High, because the Lord has never left anything alone in creation. Everything is with the Lord. It has never left anything, and not, I don't care how minute it is not left alone by the Lord, because it cannot exist without the Lord. The power of it is El. So El is in everything. It's just that in its holy prophets, it's the holy means complete. And it's the holy prophets that are divinely raised high by the Most High. To be aware of it, we relate to it as it relates to us, and as it causes us to relate to it and bring in the effect of us, what it wants for us to relate to man as its mediums.
Right.
In its mercy, which we call messengers. It is not leaving us alone. So it's our duty as human beings to recognize it, to call on it, although it is beyond our sensibility, our rationality, our reasoning, because it is always beyond all these things, but in its mercy, it reaches down and touches us in our reasoning, our rationality, and other forms of sensibility about it. So it's our duty to have faith and believe, and to reach out and trust, talk to it, acknowledge it, and fear it, honor it, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do all those things that you do with the devil so easily. Do it for it.
Lord, it strike me with the description of people putting themselves in a box. And it's interesting. And putting themselves in a box, being afraid to go and look up what's on the outside or dealing with what's on the outside.
Cowards.
It's interesting as the box in itself, the vision struck me that that's outside of them, but it's like just in front of their face. It's a limitation of what they can move, where they can move, and they're trapped within us.
That box is outside of them, but it's mostly inside of them.
What I was gonna say, but they don't
Got locked in. They stay locked into their fears.
Yeah.
You hear me keep yelling the word cowards? They stay locked into their fears. They hide behind the truth of their being, and they bring forth deceit. It's easy to say, trust me. I believe. Allah knows my heart.
Oh no.
All those things to try to sway somebody to believe that you are right with the Lord El.
And that's the truth. And the thing is, I had a situation where I'm around, everybody's Christian except for me. And something happened that it made me angry. But it's like I'm sitting in the center of people steadily talking about Jesus this, and yeah, God loves everyone, and this all day long. And an incident happened where our time may be up and people start saying the Lord this, the Lord that, but then everybody tried to cut off everybody's head and stuff. And then once they tried and had their results that they was looking for, I said, wow. People said they trust the Lord, but yet and still they behead everybody in here to try to make sure they stay at this job. And I realized just listening to them, I said, it's not good to talk. It's good to be a shower, not a talker. Because anybody can say, you could say anything. But my whole thing is, and I'm not saying that fear don't exist. Fear do exist. But it's a thing that, Dane always told us, you should only fear Allah.
Yeah.
And that's easy for someone to tell you. And it's very hard for you to trust that and do that. But, if you sit down and be true to yourself at the end of the day, anything else you put your trust in always gonna fail you. It's just going to happen that way. You can't go through your whole life and don't have one situation where you put yourself in someone else's hands or someone else's care that didn't have an endpoint to it.
It's because you might say that it's easy to say and hard to do, but you know, it's not
It's no
really, it's a matter of how you understand the law.
Okay.
You know, when I say fear Allah alone, I know, or I recognize Allah in everything. So, like, for instance, if a man got a gun and he about to blow my head off, I'm not fearing that man. I'm fearing the power behind that man. And I realize the power and the realization and the life behind that man is Allah. That man is a puppet in the hands of Allah. Now, I'm not, by Allah's blessing and its mercy and giving me a clarity of awareness about it, I recognize that that man has no power over Allah. So I'm fearing Allah.
Right.
Oh, Allah have mercy on me. Not, oh, man have mercy on me. That man ain't got no mercy.
Right.
Oh, Allah have mercy on me. Most of the people that get in circles like what you in your job, those people are mean and facetious people. Religious people are the meanest and most facetious people there is, because they so self-righteous. They believe the Lord is on their side, and they evil. The devil was always tricking them. Yeah, you got the Lord on your side. You the best. You the right. You the this. You the that. You the this. And then they go believe in that stuff. And they be the best of the devil's servant. And they see somebody of another faith, and then they, you know, they want to fight them because somebody else who may not even be of a believer, you know, like the politicians who only fake belief to get, you know, votes and what have you, tell them, go against that one because they ain't right, and they're going to hurt our nation. They're not good Christians, or they're not good Muslims, or, you know. But the thing about it is that if you see Allah and you see the devil by actions, you recognize people.
Right.
But you have to see that in yourself.
Yeah.
Allah and the devil in actions, by your actions from within. You know, when I used to be in those circles like yours where you had a lot of people of other faiths, and they say things, I recognize it by spirit. I recognize they being facetious. They'll look at them, they want to try to hurt me by their words. You know, they're going to get around me and say all these things. You know, and me as a Muslim, I break out, Jesus, keep me near the cross. And he said, where you learn that song? Oh, I was a Christian before I was a Muslim. And I just don't get crossed up no more.
Right.
I give them something to think about.
Mm.
You know what I mean? See, the beauty of Islam, if you take it right, with it being the Lord's latter message. In other words, it has renewed and improved and corrected and did all these things for the religious people who still believe.
Right.
So if you take its latter message,
Right.
then it will defeat everything that people has disturbed,
Right.
made crooked, soiled. It will defeat. That's why the prophets the messengers come with the books. That's to correct correct life.
Right.
Huh? So what I have, which people are not, they should be running. If they knew best, they will be running to find me to get it. The divine book of recitation. It corrects what people have soiled. It cleans it up. It straightens it out, and it makes it anew. And this information cannot be defeated by all that old information. Can't be. That's why I'm still here after 30 years. Of people threatening to take me down with their information. I remember a guy told me he's going to put me in the hospital with his Islam. Like it was his weapon, his tool. I'm going to put you in the hospital by the time I finish with you. Huh? And I couldn't stop laughing. Because it was really a joke. I just hysterically, it was funnier than Richard Pryor when he said that then. Because of my experience and where I was. And I'm looking at him and he really think that he could hurt me with information. But because he's hurt other people with information. Now that's a facetious person. I didn't turn and try to hurt him with my information knowing that I had more. I tried to help him, but more so I tried to help the people who was around him, whom he was leading and misleading. Tried my heart to help him. You know, while he tried his hard to get me to hurt him along with him. You know? But, you know, you can take the Lord's word and you can use it like a weapon, and you can hurt some people. You put things in their mind and don't give them the right understanding, man, and you lead them off. Whew. They get to a cliff and don't know it, man. They fall off that cliff, man, and it be like to them like ecstasy. I'm in ecstasy, man. Where you falling? I don't know. I was at the cliff of the what you call that place? That the real wide place in Arizona, someplace. Grand Canyon, yeah. I've been falling for 35 seconds. You know what I mean? When I heard you fall for 40 seconds off that place, I thought about that. 40 seconds before you hit the ground. Can you imagine? You yelling to Allah. Your whole life done ran past you, this lifetime and many past lifetimes, huh? And you saying, I thought I was going to be a believer. Now you get tired of waiting for the ground to come. You have to take a breath and keep on yelling. Can you imagine?
Well, I didn't get a picture of the coyote, you run running.
No. Imagine a human being. You know, thinking. You know, it has your life run before. If you haven't been in an accident, your life runs before you in the flash of a moment. And you think about how many flashes of a moment can come in 40 seconds.
See, your life runs in front of you, then you have another 39 seconds to go.
Right, because that before saying the blurs. Yeah, but it's serial though.
Yeah, the Christians, I can hear them saying, Father, I'm coming home.
Yeah, too. Yeah. But this is many times, it's easy for many of them, you hear him say all the time, how you doing today, bro? I'm blessed, highly favored. Okay.
And then, the memory is like, speak to a Muslim, alhamdulillah,
Well, the thing about it is that people say things without really thinking about what they're saying. So when someone greets you, man, before you return your greeting, you should think about what they said to you and what you're saying to them. And it should have some substance. You know, a lot of people say things and it has no substance. Huh?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the greeting of the religious greeting that the Lord has given us as a way of peace for the community.
We're going to hold that and give a sign, to our New York audience return. They want to thank you.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed?